Hi everyone. This is the September 1st, 2015 meeting where I've finally come out of hiding again to speak to City Council. I wanted to give a bit of history, but I need to get this on tape. I see this meeting is airing on public TV right now and is not broadcasting the sound, which is what the city does, manipulates the meetings that I speak at. And anyway, let me get this going, and just know that I am very familiar with this area. I have lived in the next town seasonally and built a year-round house. I've been here since 1969. So they have heavy knowledge of my family history, ties to Belfast. Even Ned Leitner, the guy that tapes this and has been manipulating the meetings and has used our personal friendship to stop me from exposing the corruption in Belfast, is a Bayside guy himself. I've known him since 1969. So it's all very disturbing and upsetting, and it's very difficult to keep facing your abusers. And I thought I was only going to have 3 minutes to speak here, and I was going to have to do it in two sections because they have open to the public in the beginning, at the end. Otherwise, I would have had much more corruption on there. I just tried to hit the highlights. This has been going on for 5 years.
And to the republic for which it stands,
Where am I?
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open to the public.
Open to the public. Please state your name and where you're from. Come up to the podium.
Actually correcting that landing. Yeah, but unfortunately those images
On my Boycott Belfast blog
is in a brand new building that doesn't show up.
Lori Allen
Sorry.
Thank you.
Lori Allen Belfast. City Manager Joe Slocum, City Planner Wayne Marshall, and City Council Mike Hurley threatened the lives and destroy the private properties of Seaview Terrace way before I moved here in June 2010. Trying to convince the public that Seaview Terrace has a 100-year-old natural stream on it gives them the authority to slaughter us with water.
And just to add a note, I was adamant to the real estate agents. We worked online. I was in New Jersey, came up here to see the properties. My number one concern was no water issues. I refused all properties that disclosed a stream. The previous owners, Minister Tarpley, filled in the previous erosion, and they sold it off as a private piece of property with no stream running through it, no drainage, no water issues. And the Realtor Commission dismissed my case, saying I should have done a more exhaustive search of my private property drainage ditch that surrounded 3 sides of my property. And the property inspector was recommended by the real estate agent. He corruptly didn't report the drainage ditch or stream, or it's just so layers of corruption. Anyway, here we go.
A natural stream was never on the Seaview Terrace parcel. A 1939 aerial map on my Boycott Belfast blog proves that. Hurley threatened Seaview Terrace residents on public TV in September 2014 to accept the GoPack paving that is against city ordinance code or not get any paving at all. He stated he has had it with Seaview Terrace, and after 50 years of the city destroying Seaview Terrace, he wishes the residents would buy it back. He tells City Manager Joe Slocum to pull the plug on GoPack paving if the residents aren't compliant. Since April 2011, I have diligently worked to get Seaview Terrace drainage and paving according to code and funding by including Seaview Terrace into the Northport Avenue TIF via the annex improvements and with budget planning. I diligently worked to get all the illegal city forced water on all three sides of the predominantly flood zone A, private properties of Seaview Terrace. Instead, Belfast city officials have done everything they can to Seaview Terrace. Instead, Belfast city officials have done everything they can to continue the forced water slaughter. They refuse to put Seaview Terrace into a FEMA mitigation plan that will save us. The continuous City Hall white-collar tactics to break me include using my brother's funeral in Alabama on September 8, 2014, to assault my property with heavy equipment to send me illegal accumulating water from another, and illegal paving. See my Boycott Belfast blog, right column page titled Oliver Engineer Witness. I pasted the city website announcement dated September 12, 2014, advising of Seaview Terrace paving in the upcoming weeks. It was already corruptly done. Using my brother's death to slaughter my property, total evil, the wall defended themselves and verbally flogged me again. Continuous withholding of public documents and public information, brainwashing the public against me on public TV, alienating me from the community and neighbors, painting me as crazy, city attorney intimidation, police intimidation, city council calling me in as a threat to the chief of police McFadden in January 2012, the chief calling me into the precinct for a delightful conversation where an innocent comment by the chief allowed me to link the Time Warner cable man that had been in my home many times for internet problems, where I yapped endlessly about City Hall corruption, where he did not let on that he was the chief's brother-in-law. The chief almost fell off his chair when I said, "Hey, the Time Warner cable guy is your brother-in-law." The enormity of this didn't sink in until much later. I like Chief McFadden. He was able to confirm that the Captain Albert Stevens School zoning conditions does require them to remove plowable snow off-site. Also stated by then Planning Chair Diane Allmeyer Beck at the site visit for the annex in May 2011. Mike Hogan confirmed plowable snow would be removed off-site. City employees are told not to help me. Some city employees intimidate me. This brutal winter, the Public Works targeted my driveway with snow dumping, skipping my property for removal of snow with the grader, and a face-to-face confrontation where the driver flat out refusing to do the same maintenance to my property that he had just done for every other property on Seaview Terrace. City Hall officials refused to name the employee or respond to the discrimination. I know who the employee is. I have a picture. I sent it to City Hall. No response. City Hall allows all the sites to illegally stockpile snow all season, melting to Seaview Terrace with miles of road and highway melt-off and runoff. 2009 and 2011 melts made Seaview Terrace private property drainage ditches into roaring rapids, 4 feet high, 12 feet across in my backyard alone. For almost 2 weeks, ripping away a quarter of my backyard, and now my fence is on the edge. Public zoning conditions and final site plans have been withheld from me regardless of FOAA. For 4 years, along with many more public documents held by City Planner Wayne Marshall. The reason he stopped recording final site plans in the Waldo County Deeded Registry when he became the city planner speaks for itself. At the recent August 26, 2015 Planning Board meeting, City Planner Wayne Marshall launched into attacking my facts of Captain Albert Stevens School drainage corruption again. He states that the access road is the only drainage to go to the $2 million sewer improvements to Miller Street, improved specifically to handle cast drainage. In reality, that rock-filled drainage ditch alongside the access road is the only compliant outlet path for the only compliant outlet in the enormous fenced-in drainage basin. Water will only flow out of that outlet if the water reaches that raised outlet located at the highest terrain of the basin. The basin terrain almost begins there and slopes way down to behind the back corner of the Sweetser School where an illegal outlet is. All the runoff flows down there and out alongside Sweetser, merges with an outlet coming from the muck, under School Street, and out to private properties of the watershed residents. Pictures and documentations are on my blog on the same Oliver page. It also includes the corrupt CAS investigation by DEP Commissioner Aho that I reported to FEMA recently. I see Aho resigned yesterday. Commissioner Aho sent me a letter stating that the investigation was closed and the Robertson, now Sweetser School drainage was in compliance. She corruptly manipulated the original site investigation that was done for the Captain Albert Stevens School by her investigator and stated that it was only the Robertson Sweetser School that was in compliance. She wrote nothing about Cass. Only the Sweetser School parking lot drainage was proposed to drain to the watershed residents under School Street, pending an impact study and engineer inspection of the completed Cass drainage system as stated in the withheld Cass site conditions of findings, where City Planner Wayne Marshall removed all drainage documents prior to my inspection of those enormous files for my request for the final site plan and drainage documents. I scored a few of those drainage documents on an unannounced visit to see those files again when Wayne was not in the office. As told to City Council many times, a bonanza of drainage documents on this enormous wetland site were placed back in the file. Commissioner Aho stated that we may never know all the water being forced to the floodplain, flood zone A, private properties on Seaview Terrace. I also understand that the floors at the Captain Albert Stevens School are cracking and sinking. Under FOAA, for these Cass conditions of findings, and after many months of stalling, in December 2013, City Manager Joe Slocum emailed that he could not find the engineer's inspection and that the impact study was never done. Yet in a workshop for drainage and paving corruption of Seaview Terrace in August 2014, Mandy Oliver of Oliver Engineers was given corrupt boundary maps to design drainage for the Seaview Terrace Road that showed my private property drainage ditch was not on my property, creating option 4 to send more water slaughter to me. Residents were never given those corrupt maps, and City Attorney Bill Kelly advised in that workshop, stating finally the reason that he was there was to educate neighbors to sue each other through Title 17 under nuisance, that it is criminal to send accumulating water to another. Ironically, the city does just that and calls it a neighbor-to-neighbor issue, the flooding games. At the end of the workshop, Mandy Oliver whistleblows. She states that she was the engineer for the Cass Drainage Inspection Report and the Watershed Impact Study, and that she reported on both. Slocum refuses to provide those documents to date. Supporting documents are on my blog, same Oliver page. Slocum refuses to put official zoning maps of R1, R2, and R3 as of August 2015 for public access on the city website. Slocum states that the City Council voted in the official zoning of R1, R2, and R3 in October 2014. Shut me up for the zoning maps already and put the official zoning maps as of August 2015 for R1, R2, and R3 on the city website now. The online City Council meeting menus have been manipulated on key meetings, lumping all the business together so it's difficult to find each business agenda item. The city will not correct those by indexing the meetings properly. They certainly can, but won't. I listed the 12 manipulated meetings on my blog on the page titled 7/30/2015 Targeted Indexed Editing on 12 City Council Meetings. Other key meetings experienced taping issues. That is why I record myself now. The planning office has not listed meeting minutes online since March 2015. I'm sure there is much more manipulation of public information. I can't police them all, although I try. Slocum ordered police guards at City Council meetings immediately after my first public speaking on November 1st, 2011. Officer Ward and City Video Director Ned Leitner followed me out of a City Council meeting on city property as city employees to persuade me to back off of City Hall, both stating support for City Hall. I asked Officer Ward, what does his opinion of City Hall have to do with me? Then he resorted to shaming me as a mother, asking me if I worry what the impact of fighting to save my home against city slaughter has on my children, telling me if he were in my position, he'd basically be a parent first. I told him, of course this hurts my children. This is our home, all I have left. What am I supposed to do? Within months, Officer Ward and Chief McFadden were at my door. I invited them in. The chief said he received an anonymous email that contained convincing statements that I was unstable. After I did not waver, and as Hurley states, dominated the interrogation, the chief resorted to supporting City Hall and personal friendships with City Hall officials and shaming me as a mother. Interrogation over, children off limits. My mail has been tampered with. The chief never contacted me when I brought a suspicious anonymous letter to the police department for him to handle. Later I had difficult communications with the chief for a copy of an incident report where my vehicle was hit. Mayor Ash had refused my emergency calls when he was my AAA provider, forcing me to wait for hours for a jump from another garage, making my child very late to school. Another time my SUV slid down the ice on Park Row in Bayside to the bay with one section hanging over the ledge, Freezing cold. I feared that keeping the engine running may melt it over the edge. After an hour, a lady who had been trying to help me had her father come in his truck and tow me out. The city's hit list of tactics to beat me is astounding. Those in the community that join in is frightening. Please save Seaview Terrace and let me live in peace, privacy, and safety. Stop killing me. Should I stay so that you can talk about me, Mike, or you have nothing to say this time? Let's see.
Okay, folks, it's your opportunity. Seeing none, we'll move along.
They go into communications after this, and usually I leave, and that's when Hurley launches attacks after me, trying to discredit me, slander me. It's plenty of meetings to prove that, but I want to get this uploaded now. I'm going to do the week before at the planning board where Wayne Marshall went after me. Okay, have a nice day.